All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, tonight we got a young lady who is going viral because she's complaining that she makes 80K a year. I believe she's a nurse. And she says that she's living paycheck to paycheck. She's struggling to survive. She can't make it, and something got to give. Okay. So, I want to talk about this, but first thing I want to do, I want to play what she has to say, and then I want to go from there. So, let's get this thing popping.
I'm so tired of living my life in survival mode because despite having 2 college degrees and making close to $80,000 a year, I still cannot keep up with the cost of living. I still cannot afford all of my bills every month and have to live paycheck to paycheck. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I am sacrificing my mental health, my time, and my energy to take care of people in their most vulnerable moments. And a lot of the time, they do not make it. At the very least, I should be able to pay my bills. And for anyone who's thinking, well, you shouldn't have chose that job, somebody has to do it. And you know damn well, if your loved one was critically ill, you would want somebody to take care of them, right? Something has to give. I cannot keep doing this.
Okay. And that's pretty much it. And I feel her. I feel what she's saying. I feel what she's saying. 2 college degrees and still struggling is crazy. That's insane, actually. That's insane because the amount of money that she spent for school in itself, I'm willing to bet she's still paying off those loans. 1,000%. Yes. Still paying off those loans. But this is a common occurrence, especially in this country. Now, the new data and statistics say that most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck to the tune of 78% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. That's crazy. That's crazy. That speaks volumes. That speaks volumes to what's going on in America. Now, a lot of y'all not familiar with the definition of paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck basically means if you lost your job today, you cannot pay your bills tomorrow, which means that you don't have a hefty savings to last for 6 months to a year. You know, you don't have any stocks or investments or any type of backup cash to keep going if something were to happen to your current employment, which a lot of Americans are in that position. Now, I don't know if you consider credit, like credit lines, when you're living paycheck to paycheck. I wouldn't consider that, any type of way to living off credit, because that's just going to get you deeper and deeper into the hole at the end of the day. If you don't have the cash on hand or you are not able to pull from investments, I don't count that as money. But let's talk about it. Why are most of us living paycheck to paycheck? This woman makes 80K a year, which is pretty good for a woman. Why is she living paycheck to paycheck? Well, many reasons, right? She could be living above her means. She could be spending too much money on frivolous things, or she could have some type of gambling addiction. We don't know. But I do know that a lot of people could easily make it by on that income. But the thing about it is their situation is different from hers because they're living in lower means than she is. Now, I'm pretty sure she's not living in a city on the outskirts of town in a smaller house or a smaller apartment. She probably has some type of luxury apartment in a metropolitan area. I'm not gonna lie, I can tell just by looking at her, she's not living in some place that's below her means. She's living right. She's living right at where where she wants to live, which is not too far off from what a lot of us do. A lot of us will get a job, a good job, and what's the next thing we do? We go get a nice car with that big old car note, that $700 car note for that, whatever car you got. And, we'll get a nice house or a nice apartment for $3,500 a month, and we'll be paying all these huge bills because we have this nice job, which is actually not what we're supposed to do. What we're supposed to do is keep along the current path with the lifestyle that we had before we had that job and use that money to stack and invest and triple. And that could be anything from starting a small business to broadening your stock portfolio to purchasing some crypto to, anything, guys, anything. But spending it on material assets is always going to have you losing in the end, especially because most material assets are highly depreciable. The only material assets that aren't are, of course, bonds and, fine jewelry and art and things like that. But most everything depreciates. Cars, houses, apartments, everything. The area may appreciate over time, but the materials of your house will depreciate, and you will have to, have upkeep, and you're going to spend a lot of money. But one thing I want to really touch on is materialism. Materialism is the biggest wallet killer in our country. It is. We are obsessed as people with keeping up with the Joneses. I know you heard that term, keeping up with the Joneses. Oh, my neighbor just bought a sports car. I need to buy a sports car so I can keep up. Oh, Tom from down the street just bought this Balenciaga suit. I got to buy one too, just so I can make sure he's not outdoing me, right? And this is very problematic. It's one thing that is always going to keep you looking for more. It's going to keep you broke. It's going to keep you in a perpetual broke mindset because it'll never be enough. Because once you've beaten Tom and you've gotten more cars and shoes and clothes than Tom or whatever, then along comes Jerry. And Jerry's going to be a hard one to beat because Jerry just makes more money than you. But you're going to try your hardest to compete with Jerry because that's what materialism does. In order to be comfortable, you have to buy things. It's like a addiction, In order to be satisfied in your spirit, you have to buy something. You have to have something expensive. You have to go to an expensive restaurant. You have to do things to impress people that you don't know. Why? Because materialism. That's it. A lot of y'all may not know this about me, but I am half Persian. So when I was a kid, my dad, who is from Iran, used to take my old gaming consoles after he would buy me a new gaming console. Let's say a Nintendo 64, and I had an old Sega, right? He would take my old Sega or any old gaming console I had, and he would say, "Hey son, I'm taking this gaming console. I'm going to send it over to my country." And I remember one time I asked him, I said, "Why? I still want this." He said, "I'm going to send it over to your cousins." And I said, "But why? Can't they buy their own gaming consoles?" He said, "No. They don't live in the same situation we have over here. We live like kings over here. They don't have it like that." He said, "This is like treasure to them." And I don't know what happened to me, but right then and there, as a kid, I stopped valuing material things as something that represented me. I stopped valuing just basic items like that means something to who I am as a person. And I think that helped me a lot because that helped me save a lot of money. That helped me live within my means. Now, I'm not saying I lived at my parents' house forever because I didn't. I moved out, when I was in my late teens, 19, 20. But at the same time, I didn't go out and get a fancy place. I didn't go out and get a downtown floor-to-ceiling window penthouse condo apartment that I couldn't afford. I didn't go out and buy a sports car. I think at the time I was driving a Crown Vic. And I was making good money. I was, working at a call center, doing some odd jobs on the side and stuff like that. But I've always lived below my means. Even now, in the house I'm in right now, I still consider this living below my means because I could do a lot better, right? I could do a whole lot better. But I don't want to have thin pockets. I don't want to have that mindset that, oh my God, I'm so worried because if something happened to my career or my current job that I'm on right now, all would be lost. All wouldn't be lost. Because you're not living in a perpetual mind state of trying to please everybody else. And the funny thing about living below your means and not praising and worshiping materials is this: you end up having more money at the end of the day. Isn't that funny? You end up having more money not praising materials. You end up having fatter pockets when you live below your means. You end up being able to go out on the weekends and do what you want to do. You end up being able to pay off that credit card debt. You end up being able to pay off your student loans because you aren't trying to impress anybody. But at the end of the day, you got what's in your pocket and that will impress people. Isn't that crazy? It's like a catch-22. You live below your means and now you're balling more than the people you were trying to impress in the first place. And this is what I'm saying. This is what Americans have a problem with. And this is part of the concept of delayed gratification. Guys, I can go on forever about delayed gratification. You have to learn about delayed gratification. You cannot think that everything is going to happen right here and there. Yes, you got a job making $120,000, $130,000, $140,000 a year. Great. Stay in that crappy apartment for another 5 years and save. Don't take that money and take those pay stubs and then try to move into some high rise in, the middle of downtown so you can impress this girl and that girl and all the, don't do that. At the end of the day, what does it mean if you don't even have food in your refrigerator, but you got a fancy place? What does it mean that you got this amazing car, but you can't even drive it nowhere because your insurance payment is so high, you can't even afford to put gas in the thing? What does it profit you? Just to say you got it? Stop buying Hellcats. No, for real, but look, we got to get better at this. I've seen way too many stories, especially recently with the coming of the economy. And trust me, guys, trust me. The economy will get better. Trust me, it will. With all the policies in place, it's going to get better. There's a strategy to this stuff. But it's going to start with you. You have to live below your means. You have to be able to save money. Having that safety blanket means more than having that fancy car and that beautiful house or beautiful apartment or whatever. Until you can actually afford those things, stay away from it. I heard someone say something that was very smart. If you cannot buy it twice, you can't afford it. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. If you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. All right? Now, I know this is going to help somebody because trust me, this helped me. So if you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all soon. All right? Peace.